everyone, welcome to the Horror Realm. I'm Travis Bruce, and today we're doing another Women of Horror Spotlight. Today I have with us, she is a filmmaker, and she has a short film that she's looking to turn into a feature length, and it is called Last Bite. I have with us Nicole Demonesis. Nicole, welcome to the Horror Realm.
Thank you, Travis. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here and talk about lesbian vampires with you.
Yes, who doesn't like lesbians and who doesn't like vampires? So that's a great mix.
You'd be surprised just in talking about this project with people. Some people just want their lesbians walking on a beach, holding hands. Maybe one of them gets cancer. You add the vampires, you sprinkle a little horror in there, and then people are split. They don't know what to do. I'm like, I want a little horror with my sapphic content. I want a little vampire with my sapphic love. So
yes, because it would be boring if there was nothing but heterosexual vampires, right? I mean, come on.
I do get a little bored. And I'm a purist. My vampires do not sparkle in the sunshine, and they definitely have fangs. So
tell us a little. Yes, listen, that's the way I prefer my vampires. Now tell us a little bit about Last Bite.
So Last Bite, I've been in a writing program the last few years through Stevens College, and it was one of my first projects where I came in with kind of a nugget of an idea, and it was really fun to flesh it out with a mentor and having the time to write it into a feature-length film. But currently, I wrote a short proof of concept that's essentially like the first 10 pages of the script. It gives us a nice setup. It gives us introduces the characters, but to give people a nice little pitch, a little log line, Last Bite follows a vampire who has lost her taste for blood, and she hires a call girl to reignite her thirst. And it's a chamber piece. It takes place from dusk till dawn in a haunted chateau in San Francisco. We're lesbian lovers. We like a little drama. So some exes come back into play, some ex-vampires, and try and ruin things for the new lovers that are trying to connect, trying to have a moment in this dark world. I think if you're a fan of vampires and if you're a fan of kind of neo-noir thrillers, the chamber piece aspect, the ticking clock of they only have this one night, they only have this set amount of time together. It adds a certain sense of urgency and also speeds up the intimacy. These people the vampire and the call girl have to connect a lot quicker and sooner to meet both of their goals. So.
And one thing I love about, we were talking about in the pre-interview, but I love about the idea of your film, and you talked about just in a little bit, intimacy in a horror movie. Like, sex is gone out of horror films, and especially vampire films. Like, you cannot have a vampire film without sexuality and intimacy. Why do you feel like that's gone right now when it comes to horror? Why are filmmakers so scared to show sex?
I don't know what it is, but me personally wanting to see sexuality and intimacy on film, particularly about these characters, I definitely relate more to the vampire in my story. The idea that she's kind of a sheltered woman that is stuck in the 1800s mentally. She has limited knowledge of love and a limited knowledge of healthy romantic love. All of her romantic intimacy has been tied up either in trauma or negative relationships. When you think about there is like kind of a history of women either being sold through marriage or just family obligations. And so the idea of this is she doesn't know, she has to find her inner strength and release her power and desires. And so there's something fun about tapping into what she wants and how that manifests physically. So it's definitely not shying away from a woman's desires or a woman's desires, wants, and needs, but adding the kind of magical, mythical element of a dangerous creature. So I'm on board with her embracing her dark arts, embracing her darkness, and what that looks like when when it means connecting to a partner. So I think that can be really interesting in playing with that. And then with the other character, she to play up kind of a certain age dynamic. She is an older call girl. She is maybe a little over 40. She's someone who's been around a while. Definitely an entrepreneur. We're not doing the pretty woman thing where she's on the corner and she just doesn't know how things are going to go. She's definitely somebody who's leveraged her relationships and knows how to knows how to use those friendships to survive in this kind of dangerous, dark world. But her story as well, as even though the vampire is inspired by her, here's somebody who knows who they are sexually, who knows who they are physically, and that those are her strengths. She uses that in her everyday life, but she is still being human, is fragile. So what would it look like if she's offered a gift? If she can help this vampire reignite her thirst, reignite her passion, she'll be offered a gift, the gift of eternal life. And what could that mean for somebody? What could that mean for a normal person to be impenetrable and have that extra strength, be able to move through the world without fear? Because I'm not some tiny little thing, but I still look over my shoulder when I'm like going down a dark alley, or it's late at night somewhere. You still have your guard up. So just being a woman moving through the world, what would it mean to be able to walk fearlessly, to be bulletproof? Yes. Imagine. So adding that extra layer of also being unapologetic when it comes to your sexuality and how you express yourself, I think that makes it for an interesting dilemma for these two characters.
And one thing about a vampire, I said I would love to be a vampire. And the reason why I like to be a vampire, I just feel like there's not enough time in my lifetime to do all the things that I want to do. And so you're in this, everything in because we're mortals, everything is in a rush situation because we don't know how long we have. I'm 42 and I'm looking like, okay, well, how many good years do I have that I can actually walk around and be capable of doing things? So it's like a rush. That I have to do all this stuff in this amount of time. As a vampire, I have forever, but I don't know if that would make me a lazier person or if I would embrace that.
I think though also we're just as a society, we're so disconnected. Like we all went through COVID together and we experienced that, and we experienced this sense of isolation. And however you had to approach that, it was a lot of us were alone with our thoughts, alone, separated from family and loved ones, separated from things we wanted to do. Our lives were on hold. And so I definitely I'm 41 now, and it's like after I turned 40, I was like, yeah, there is this sense, this ticking clock. And there's only so many movies I can make, and where do I want to put that energy? And so it's being in this writing program has definitely helped me focus those ideas and has given me the time to flesh out these ideas. And I definitely have a slate of projects that I know I want to move forward with. But Last Bite, it's probably the one I've developed the most. We were fortunate enough to get to do, we did a table read with some local actors. And so you kind of put it up on its feet. You get to hear it with people. You get a sense of the characters, and then doing the short film, getting to figure out things with locations. Because the beauty of a script is kind of like an outline. But once you throw in real locations, props, and actors, oh my God, it's taking shape. And then you bring in a cinematographer, you're bringing a costume person, and everything starts to become more tangible, more lived in. And doing the short gave us some things. I'm like, oh, okay, how could I improve on the feature, the things other elements I want to bring in. And in terms of films that I really love that explore sexuality and passion and also play with fantasy, I am a big fan of the remake of Cat People. It's such a tragic love story. And when you know more about the director involved and his relationship with the actress, knowing that they changed the ending to satisfy his own ego. So I would encourage people to definitely, in terms of remakes, that one is top of the list. It's the lead actress she's so striking and compelling in her physicality, but then it's also her performance that's haunting. And so there's that strength with femininity that's really interesting, because at least I like seeing characters or women where that is that's part of their armor. So it's definitely something I want to approach in Last Bite, in that how women use their armor, how they use their femininity, how it serves them or hurts them. But it's definitely, I hope you're rooting for the vampire. I'm team vampire for this one.
I'm team vampire.
Yeah. Another great vampire film, if people haven't watched it, needs a little love, Near Dark. Now the
Oh, yes.
vampires in that they don't have fangs, but it gets a pass because
Yes.
it's so fucking cool. It's such a cool vampire, like in terms of merging genres, like it's a Western vampire movie. And the only, it came out when the Lost Boys came out. So poor Catherine Bigelow, she's got the entire
Exactly.
cast of Aliens 2 in this badass vampire movie, and everyone's watching, Keith Sutherland with his little vampire mullet. And I like Lost Boys. Lost Boys is fine.
It's my favorite. Yeah, it's
just way different. That's all. Just a different
way
thing.
different.
Yeah.
Now, listen. As a screenwriter as well, are when you're writing your screenplay, when it comes to your actresses, do you have in mind a certain look or a certain build for? Do you vision what each one of these characters look like? And then when you redo your casting, have you ever had an instance where you were like, I envision this vampire to look like this, but an actress comes in and she doesn't look like that at all, but she blows it out of fucking water?
It should come down to best actor wins. And so definitely I've pivoted to that when I made some of my short projects. For the proof of concept, we're in the Bay Area. There's a lot of talent in the Bay Area, a lot of great theater actors. And we were able to find some great people for the short proof of concept. But I think moving forward for the feature, I want to try and dream a little bigger, see who we can bring on board, see who might have either an interest or relate to the material that they think they can add something special to it. There's definitely a look I'm going for, and there's definitely like things I want to do within the film and just film in general. I'm a Latin woman. I'm a queer woman of color. I want to see that represented, and so the woman that we cast as our vampire, she's striking. She is just like, skin as white as snow, just long dark hair. She looks like a beautiful vampire. I'm amazed that she can walk in the sunlight. She had that striking, just like hit me over the head, like, oh my God, there was something otherworldly about her. And so it was really fun to work with her on the project because she does a lot of modeling. She was modeling a lot in like Japan and stuff like that. And so we were fortunate enough to get her to work around her schedule for a couple days for this small project. And the characters though are such that their physicality really has to hit the audience over the head with that, because you have to be sucked into the world. You have to be drawn to them just as if they were, you were in their orbit and you were just walking down the street and you had to literally stop because there was just something so striking, otherworldly about them. And so I do try and look for that special quality. And, I've been lucky in my shorts. I've worked with some SAG actors, but it does come down to sometimes who wants it the most. And sometimes it's that person who's a little greener and who is really willing to put in a little more work. There's definitely, I have a short list of people we're going out to for the bigger project, and we'll see how we can dream bigger, but right now there's definitely 3 budgets. We'll see where we land in terms of people's interest and how much support we get. But at the end of the day, the goal is to make the project. And so making it by any means necessary, making it with the people that are going to support the project the best and show up and have the most enthusiasm. And so, I'm Bay Area girl. I want to make films out here. I want to hire locally. We'll see how that shakes out. But at the end of the day, yeah, I cast myself, so I'm casting people myself. I haven't worked with a casting director yet, and it sometimes it comes down to money. And it also comes down to access. So we'll see if the script brings in enough interest, and we'll see if there's an actor who maybe she hasn't done anything for a while, and she wants to do something that's out of her comfort zone, or something that's a little interesting that breaks through the noise a little bit. And so it's kind of all about those relationships and seeing how you can help somebody else, how you can collaborate, because it's that collaboration that will elevate it, will make it special. Because yes, I've written a script, but it's got to come off the page. It's got to come to life, and it only comes to life when you get that collaboration.
I 100% agree. 100% agree. Now, so the short film, the proof of concept, when you finish that, it's a 2-part question. What is one thing that you were like, that went so well, I want to carry that over to the feature length? And what is one thing that you're like, oh, hell no, I would never do that shit again?
Well, I was working with, I like to call them creative affairs. I was working with a new cinematographer, and it's a wife and husband team. And so it was the first time I had a 2-camera setup. And so that made things go a lot quicker. And we had a lot to cover in a couple days. And so that working with some new people brought some new energy, but they were very efficient. And so that sped up the process. The part time in these kind of projects is always is not your friend, and so we'd always love more time moving forward, probably hoping we can get a few more days in that special location. But I love practical effects, and so we were working with Pandora Effects. The woman who runs that is so talented, and her husband were so generous with their time. We also had an intern that was helping out with some makeup and doing some other things, but specifically there was a one effect that was a neck piece, and so the actor, the vampire, was going to demonstrate her strength by slicing her throat with a knife, and just making that prosthetic, painting it and getting it ready to shoot, that took hours. And it's kind of funny because the hotel we were at was nice enough to let us set up shop in their lobby, and tourists were walking by as the actress was getting her throat slit, getting her makeup ready. And then Margaret's husband was going to do the blood gag. He was going to hide behind the couch and pump blood through the wound. And we knew we were only going to get one shot at that. And we actually got 2 shots of it because we're like, let's run it back. Let's do it again, because it didn't pump right away. And so we were like, all right, cut your throat again. And so that just the challenge of using practical effects, there were limitations there where like you only get 1 or 2 shots. And then it's like, okay, how can we creatively put this together in the edit? Again, just time wasn't our friend. Even the cleanup took a long time. So I knew that was the last shot with our lead actor, because like I said, her skin was so fair. So cleaning up the fake blood, that took hours too. It just would have allocated more time for that practical setup, and then also cleaning up the space, clearing everything out. But there is something special about capturing it in camera and then trying to, add some things in post that elevate it. But again, working that collaboration, working with these talented people of like, I knew I wanted to work with this effect person. We were able to pull off the effect, and it was fun to see that come together. I just would have given myself more time. That's all.
But it must be amazing working in the Bay Area, because so I live in Baltimore. I live in Maryland. So if you're in Maryland, you're kind of screwed, because there's not that much acting talent. There's not that much people who do practical effects or makeup effects. You're kind of limited. But like somewhere like the Bay Area or even New York, you have a plethora of individuals who are talented. I won't say at your disposal, but you can at least attempt to network with them.
A lot of people want to work, and a lot of people they split their time between the Bay Area and then going down to LA. Because of the fires, that slowed things for people, and less commercial work. And so if something fun was on the horizon out here, they were like, "Yeah, I'm free. I can do it."
Yeah. All right. So listen, Nicole, I do this every once in a while with my guests. I'm gonna ask you 3 random horror questions. These are your personal opinion. Okay,
all right.
You ready? All right.
Yeah.
The first question: which horror movie does everybody love that you're like, I don't see it. I don't understand why people enjoy this movie so much?
Well, I know everyone loves Scream, but I don't consider that a horror movie. I consider it a comedy. It's a fun watch. I can casually watch that all day. All the sequels are fun. They're comedies. I don't look at them as scary movies because they're so self-aware. So I appreciate the fandom, and I love that people love those movies. I don't see that as a horror movie, even though it is very classified. And I see you got a Ghostface on. I see you.
Yes,
so I know you got
Ghostface on. But I'm not only a fan of I'm a big fan of the original, the first 2. From there it's like, yeah. But yes, I agree. Scream I love Scream because I'm a Wes Craven fan. So I love anything Wes Craven. He's my favorite horror director of all time.
Me too, but I think it's so funny. He wanted to make dramas. I love that he wanted to branch out. People kept trying to keep him in a box,
Mm-hmm. And he kept on
He
But I
stretched
mean,
even when it was bad, like Cursed.
yes,
A lot of people hate Cursed. It is so bad, it's good. It is
yes.
it's so camp and so good.
Shocker.
It's
Shocker
so
is another one.
yeah. So
Yes, I agree. No, but like I agree about Scream because like, but I think this is what I've realized, Nicole. I realize younger generation are Scream fans. Like when I meet people, when I interview people who are 30 and younger, it seems like that is their franchise. So like,
bringing it back to fandom. It's fun what people attach themselves to. Like I'm wearing an Evil Dead shirt. Well, more specific, Army of Darkness, because I love Sam Raimi.
my
I love the
favorite.
Evil Dead franchise. I will watch anything Evil Dead. I love Bruce Campbell. He is the man. So it is all about what you gravitate towards, what does it for you, and like so. If people came into horror because they love Scream, great, we got them in here. Now we got them.
Yes.
You know, what else do you want to watch? You know, and so I can't knock anyone for like being a fan because I'm a fan,
Yes.
so I get it.
Yes. Second question: who is your favorite final girl?
Ooh, favorite final girl. That's a good question. Maybe since I'm on a sci-fi kick, I'm going to say Ripley. Because she's been on my mind a lot. She has a cat. You know, she's pretty casual, cool. She can, you know, smoke in space in her underwear. So, and those films are so great. At least, you know, even when we get into some of the sequels where they made some creative choices, that character is the heart of the film. And you're still rooting for her. You're still rooting for humanity. And without her, like, she's been the jumping off point for that franchise. So I really big Ripley fan.
I agree. Just a badass and sexy at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Badass and sexy at the same time.
But also, you know, I love taking it back to practical effects. Seeing some of the original onset of you know the guy in the suit of wearing the original Alien suit was amazing because unless you get that really athletic, wiry gentleman wearing this beautiful creature shoot, you're not going to let the actor play off of somebody. And then in the latest Alien one, they got like this Ukrainian basketball player who looked, you know, otherworldly. They were bringing these people that you see them on the street and you just have to stop and think, how do you exist in the world? Using that physicality and getting that effect on camera. Amazing for the actor to play off of.
Absolutely amazing. I mean, even like the Predator series. Fun fact: the original Predator movie, Jean-Claude Van Damme was the Predator.
Okay.
But he wound up getting fired off of the whatchamacallit, and they hired someone else. So, but like, yes, that physical. I'm a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan.
I am too. But it's so funny that, like, you know, for an action guy, that he had this background in gymnastics, and
yes.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of his films too. I like Hard Target and Universal Soldier, and he's kind of had like a little resurgence too. The JCVD was like a really great indie that he did.
Love it.
Maybe he'll pop up on some of the Cobra Kai shows. I like how they kind of get crossovers of different action people sometimes, and so we'll see.
Well, he has some sexual trafficking charges against him right now, so I don't think he'd pop up.
Oh wow, I didn't hear about that. Don't be your heroes, jeez. Yeah. I haven't been following the news.
I hope it's not true, but because I got him on the wall, but I love Jean-Claude Van Damme, so I'm hoping it's not true. But yeah, but boy, it seems like everybody's popping up with sex trafficking or rape charges.
Come on, guys, do better.
Like, come on now, let's calm down. All right. But all right. Third question: what is one horror film that you feel like, as a filmmaker, that you would love to put your own spin on it and make not a reboot, but a reimagining of that film?
That's a good question. I just was reading about, I love John Carpenter, and I just was reading they might do a new Escape from New York, like, and bring back Kurt Russell, which would be so cool. Because again, going back to kind of campy, funny genre, I mean, Escape from New York is that. It's so high camp. I don't know if I want to put my stamp on it, but definitely, like, in terms of genre directors, like, one of the first shorts I ever did was called Ukulele Girl, and it was inspired by El Mariachi, and it was the jumping off point, and the premise was that, okay, well, she's not a guitar player. She's a ukulele girl. And she's, her sidekick is a little chihuahua, and she's going to defend hot girls in the park where guys are messing with them. And so there was like a little impromptu karate in it, and a little, she's singing to her dog, and, trying to get that Robert Rodriguez energy in it. And, I definitely think there's a world where you could redo El Mariachi with a hot ukulele girl.
Easily, I would watch it.
Let's see. See, that's the thing, because so just in horror films in general, if again, going back to fandom, if they have a place in your heart, I wouldn't want to erase that legacy, that history, and so like I always want to kind of add on to the genre and do more and do better. And like specifically, my company, Dark Rainbow Films, it's all about inclusion, LGBT characters within the genre, because if a lot of horror fans are more diverse than people think. They also, talking about wanting to see different, identities and sexuality within horror. I'm a big zombie fan. And so we were talking earlier, I'm a part of a contest where my script was selected, but this story that I've had for a while, I did a really low budget web series a while back called Dating in the Zombie Apocalypse. And so just in the writing program I've been in currently, I had a chance to write a new spec script. And it was all about trying to learn, like, what's the engine of your TV show? You got to have, what are people going to be tuning in to see? And for my show, it was kind of like, it definitely was a more funny version of The Walking Dead, but it was like the L Word meets The Walking Dead. And it's like every week you're going to see lesbians trying to date in the zombie apocalypse. And so they're going to be zombies. They got to fight for their woman. And then they're going to be like, they're trying to get back together with that girlfriend that they messed up with before the apocalypse. And so having that engine in the show of dating and then survival. But the added thing that I added for this new spec script was that, again, we live in a kind of a complicated world, complicated times. People don't communicate with each other. When you add zombies onto that, where zombies, they are driven by the need to feed, this insatiable hunger, they're not communicating. But in my new world, in my zombie world, where you're trying to like get the girl that you love, these zombies are bilingual. So if you speak Spanish in the new zombie apocalypse, you're going to fare pretty well. And so we follow kind of like your she's a Latina who is kind of like a social media podcaster. She's doing her little podcast on a little walkie-talkie, just an open broadcast, trying to warn people like, hey, it's the zombie apocalypse. No more room in hell. You got to butch up and, make the first move, get your girl, and she's trying to give them tips on like, the lines don't work anymore. You got to, put your best foot forward and get out there. Cause dating is hard, and it's really hard in the zombie apocalypse.
I can imagine.
Yeah. So, but I thought that was a fun twist that zombies could be bilingual and trying to add on to the genre. And so that makes for some interesting survival skills when you have to speak a different language.
That is. But do you think if a zombie apocalypse happened right now, do you think wouldn't it be more hooking up than dating?
I think we'd have more polycues, and it'd be nice if we could get along more. Maybe people would be too jealous. Maybe people would they're not there yet. They can't hang, and so that's fine.
But I'm just saying, you don't know if the next couple minutes is gonna be your last minute. I feel like there'd be a lot more hooking up and a lot less dating.
Maybe a lot less dating, but I'm still romantic. I mean, I still buy me dinner first. Like, let's have a conversation first. Like, just not that girl. I need you got to slow your roll. I need a little time. I'm gonna get to know you, and then we can see what happens. We can see if the magic's there. But
love it. All right. So listen, I have a question. Where can everyone find you and your work, and how can we also support your campaign?
Well, thank you. So right now we're definitely early stages. So if anyone has interest in reading the Last Bite script, you can reach out at darkrainbowfilms.com. My email is darkrainbowfilms@gmail.com. And, for some of the other projects, if you want to see them online, if you go to Dark Rainbow Films on YouTube, you can see some of my shorts. Ukulele Girl's definitely on there. But I also recently put one of my short films that's called Fishy. It's about a kinky mermaid with a foot fetish who falls for a lonely marine biologist. And so that one, we just showed it at Poppy Jasper Film Festival, but is currently online on the YouTube channel onemorelesbian.tv. And so it's been fun to see that one in terms of views, get the audience that I know is out there that's hungry for that kind of content. It has gotten more views in the last month than it did in a whole year of festival runs. So wow. That has been, we're over 18,000. It's going to be fun to just watch and see how many people check it out. But yeah, if you want to see a movie about a little kinky mermaid, that's the one to go check out, Fishy. And Nightcap is another lesbian vampire film that I did. And what was cool about that one is we worked with some really interesting talent. Being in the Bay Area, a lot of people out here know who Jiz Lee is. And also we worked with a European playmate called Veronica LeVay. And so beautiful people playing vampires. Nightcap is a fun watch. It's only 3 minutes, but it's the one that's been most requested, and it's shown all over the world. So that's been a kind of cool little short that really has had a whole life of its own. And that one is available on, let's see, which one is... I have the censored version because YouTube, you have to censor nudity. There's a censored version on my channel, but then you can see the uncensored version on Pink Label TV. So
awesome. Well, listen, everyone, down in the description box, I have the link to Nicole's YouTube channel. So please check it out, share, like, and subscribe. And by the way, any of my filmmaker friends who watch the show, definitely reach out to Nicole and see if that's something you might be interested in.
And I was sorry to interrupt, Travis. I was also going to say I run a small horror film festival in Oakland called Blood and Popcorn. So if you are a horror filmmaker out there, we're going to be opening up submissions soon. We're always looking to support new filmmakers and to highlight new work. So you want a waiver, you send an email, I'll give you a free waiver. And we're looking to support more horror filmmakers. We're one of the few festivals that have awards. So we're looking for Best Final Girl, Best Folklore, Best Supernatural, Best Kill, Best Killer. So depending on what subgenre of horror you have, we like to highlight the whole range of horror. So please reach out.
I love it. I'm gonna hit you up afterwards because I would like the Harbor would like to be a sponsor of your film festival. So
very cool. That'd be awesome.
Yes. All right, everyone. Nicole, it's been a blast. This is fun. I can't wait to see. I'm going on YouTube right after this interview. I'm going to check out all your stuff, and I suggest everyone else does too. And definitely, I will be subscribing. Please subscribe. Also, subscribe to my channel too.
Yeah, have some love.
Yes, I appreciate it. Listen, everyone. Thank you for coming to the Horror Room. I'm Travis Bruce. We'll see you next time. Take care.